Hi,
Yes.
I'm Nadia from Zen Onco, and it really is an honor to have you take time like this out for us and, convey your knowledge to us in such a sharing session, Doctor. Let me introduce Zen Onco, Love Heals Cancer. It is like a guide to cancer patients in their treatment in every way. It's like a one-stop journey, one-stop portal and a place for cancer needs and cancer patients, yes. And it is an honor. Let me introduce you, Dr. Devendra, who is a radiologist and special experience in radio oncology, right?
Yes.
And you have done your MD in radiology and you're a senior resident at Tata Memorial as well, right?
Yes, I was recently. I parted ways. I was still recently over there. Yes.
Recently you parted ways. Any particular reason as to why that is, Doctor?
No, no, that it's fine. Change is the only thing which is constant, right? We
Yes,
keep saying
yes.
that, so
Of
it's a
course.
part of that.
Of course, right, Doctor. So anyway, let's jump to the Q&A session.
Sure.
And most importantly, I wanted to ask you, Doctor, your experience at Tata Memorial has been for how many years and how has it been
Yes.
there?
I've been at Tata Memorial for 4 years.
For 4 years, right? So that
Yes.
means for Tata Memorial and your interaction with cancer patients and cancer treatment has been for 4 years completely
Yes.
under their wing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You must have seen a lot, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so let's start with the first question, Doctor.
Sure.
Various modalities used in the treatment of cancer. Could you please talk to us more about these
See, what
different
happens
modalities?
is if a patient, what we used to get at Tata is many patients have done many investigations outside.
Right, right.
Some have been diagnosed, have been given a suspicion of having cancer. So the way we approach it, at the onset, we get a couple of baseline tests done to determine is it cancer or not. And if yes, it is cancer, we divide our patients into two broad streams. Whether our intent is curative, as in we want to completely take out the cancer and cure the patient of the cancer, or
Correct.
our intent is palliative, as in the cancer has spread to such an extent that we cannot completely cure it, but we want to provide the maximum cure and maximum relief to the patient. Intent is curative. Everything is on a war footing. Literally everything. The
Right.
dates are early. So we try and investigate the patient as thoroughly as we can to broadly divide them into these two categories.
Correct.
So once we know a patient is curative,
Yeah.
the primary modality for a curative patient is surgery. You've
Yes.
done your scans, you know the cancer has not spread anywhere, and you want to cure it. So the first thing is take it out. Take
Take
it
it
out
up.
by a surgery.
Yeah.
After surgery, what happens is cancer is it's like a very infiltrative process. It will anatomic boundaries of your body. It will spread irrespective of that. So our surgeons are great. They take a margin along with the cancer to cover that up. Still, as an additional measure, either chemotherapy or radiotherapy is given so that even small micrometastases, which are invisible to any investigation, are cured. When a patient is palliative, what we focus is providing maximum relief. Imagine you have your liver. Your liver secretes bile.
Right.
Obstruction bile causes jaundice. Pीलिया बोलते हैं North India में. So if it is not, if someone cannot take it out by surgery, what we do is we insert a small pipe through the cancer so that the natural flow cured. The cancer will not be cured, but the patient will get relief from the symptoms. We can help the patient in every way possible so that they get maximum relief in the last few days, weeks, or months of their lives.
Right. Right. So the palliative care also you all do.
Yes. Means
In
it's everything is multimodality. Nothing is
multimodalities, right?
never box. We never box it in. No one goes territorial on that. It is all multimodality. Like if there's a palliative patient who has a growth in the food pipe, the esophagus,
Yeah.
the trying to insert a Ryle's tube for feeding purposes. If they're unable, what we do is we take the patient in on a fluoro machine. It is something sort of a X-ray machine. And
Right.
under that guidance, we will try to insert a very thin wire through the cancer from the food pipe to the stomach. And over it, we will pass the tube or a Ryle's tube so that the patient can feed. So
Right.
it's
Right.
all multimodality. Everyone keeps the interest of the patient above anything else. That is
Correct.
what it is.
Correct. That is everybody's cause, right? The patient has to be kept.
Yes.
at all times, at all times. And when it comes to radiology, like there are so many side effects that the patient has to,
Radiation therapy, yes,
yeah,
for radiation therapy there are, but everything is because what happens is cancers are ultimately cells. Whatever
right,
treatment you are giving, except surgery, is
right.
directed towards stopping the growth of those cells in
Hmm.
your body, the
Hmm.
skin, the hair, the lining of your gut, the stomach, and everything. They also keep getting removed and build up new. So the radiation and the chemotherapy target them also. We are Everyone is trying. The entire research is going on to make it more specific. Earlier there were agents we used to use to cause more side effects. Now we have agents which cause less, but still it's a continued development. It's an evolving field. That's why you have loss of hair, the skin rashes, the diarrhea, the vomiting, but those are inevitable. Some will have it more than other. People are given people are given injections. We give them drug doses to minimize those symptoms, but sometimes they become inevitable even despite best effort from our medical oncologists, and it is inevitable. It's a part
part
of
of part of the entire treatment, I guess. You even lose your appetite as well. I mean,
yes, people do lose their appetite,
yes,
correct.
yes. How are they supposed to eat without an appetite, right? Like,
We
I mean,
have a
it must.
dedicated nutritionist at most centers. Means all cancer hospitals should have a dedicated nutritionist who can help the patient, guide them what to eat, how to maintain their calories, their proteins, so that they don't lose muscle mass, which is valuable to our body. They
Huh.
can lose fat but not muscle. Fat can be gained anytime. Muscle is what you have gained through exercise and endurance, and lack of a protein diet, the body will burn out that muscle. So you need proper dietitian and nutritionist guidance to maintain that.
In fact, that was my next question about the right nutrition. You so correctly went on to that line, and and even I was even wanting to ask you about how a nutritionist has a role to play. So please continue. Yeah.
Important role. They have a very important role. The thing is, if you imagine cancers of the gastrointestinal tract starts from your mouth and goes to your anal canal, from which we excrete out our feces. So if it is in the upper part, your food pipe,
Right.
your stomach,
Right.
your digesting bowel, the
Mm.
patient cannot process the meal properly. Like I gave you an example of passing a feeding tube through the food pipe so that the food reaches the stomach. But what food can be given? The nutritionist has to decide depending. And let me be very clear: cancer is one thing. Patient might have diabetes, patient might have hypertension, patient might have renal disease, compounding it. It is never a one thing scenario. Means some cancer is mostly imagine someone in their 70s, known diabetic, known high blood pressure, known kidney problems, unable to eat. You cannot give them everything. So they are so conscious. The patient has to be given sometimes a salt restricted diet. Sometimes when they're very lean, the calorie intake itself is not meeting the basal requirement of the body. High calorie diet, even if it is more starchy than proteinaceous, if the patient has maintained mass, is not very lean, then a high protein, low calorie diet to sustain the muscle mass. So it is very individualized and personalized according to the idiosyncrasies of the comorbidities and the known cancer.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
they have a very huge role, very huge undermined role in
Mm.
maintaining the proper nutrition of a patient.
Yes. And what do you have to say about sarcopenia?
See, sarcopenia is a very recent concept. It was never heard of before 2000.
Correct.
Until 2020 years ago, no one knew what sarcopenia
I read it in
is.
your works.
Started,
I read it in
uh,
your works, in fact, and I was thinking, okay, so this is something new. I think we should definitely talk about it. Please do so.
then in Europe, it started in Europe in geriatric population while scanning patients. Initially, no one knew. Means if we've seen geriatric people, our grandfathers, grandmothers are frail. They have loose skin and less muscle mass, but no one thought of it. Then they started quantifying it that with age you start losing muscle mass.
Mm.
Okay, that continued for about 8 years. In
Right.
2008, someone had a brain spark.
Yes.
Cancer patients see the cancer cells is using the nutrition of your body, which is
Mm.
meant for your normal cells. Even they are growing, and they are
Yeah.
growing at much faster rate. So they
Mm.
are basically proliferating from the other cells and growing. So other cells are denied. So your
Mm.
muscle mass starts to decrease, and that
Correct.
muscle mass leads to a loss of function. What we calculate in a patient is PS, known as a performance do the daily activities himself or not. So when we scan a patient, imagine a CT scan. When we scan a patient, we get this gamut of images and we have different tissues. We can see muscle, fat, air beautifully. So imagine a patient who has a high burden of the cancer is not receiving nutrition. The cancer will get its supply at all costs. The
At all.
burden on you.
Huh.
So the muscles of your body are losing protein. And that is sarcopenia. Sarco is muscle, penia is loss. And then we have studied it in a range of cancers. I've done a study on it on lung cancers. The thing is, if the patient is nutritionally poor, imagine all the modalities I was telling about treatment. If the patient is curative surgery, so if you take a bite, a suture after cutting something, it is taken into muscle. If the patient has low muscle mass, the suture will give way. The patient will have surgical complications. Imagine chemotherapy. If the patient has sarcopenia, the chemotherapy, there will be more vomiting. Your GI tract will not be able to tolerate the food, the drugs, more vomiting, more stools, more hair loss. Imagine radiation therapy. Even bones have proteins. If we have given radiation for breast cancer, we have patients who were sarcopenic that post radiation, they had fractures of their vertebral column because they were sarcopenic, not enough protein. So if you can target them to a nutritionist before starting treatment, they will have less complication and a better chance of recovery. So sarcopenia cancer is a very recent concept, maybe the last decade.
Yeah, and the importance of a nutritionist is undeniable, right?
Absolutely. I'm telling you, it is undervalued. People don't give their importance.
It is undervalued. Yes, it is undervalued because they don't know the importance of the right nutrition getting into their body. Correct. And also, when if you compare it to sarcopenia with radiology, how exactly would your comments be on that?
See, radiology, what happens is when you stage a patient for cancer treatment, you will always require a scan. Either it is a PET scan or a CT scan. That will always be there. Because without imaging, you cannot know how to diagnose cancer, nor will you know what is the stage of cancer, nor will your treatment decisions be decided.
Perfect. Yes.
When you image, there are specialized softwares out there, very expensive currently. Hopefully, we'll be able to develop cheaper ones for our country, which can outline compartments in your body. Like, this is my skeleton, will be my muscle compartment, underlying it will be a bony compartment. Similarly, in your abdomen, we are trying to develop something where you can compartmentalize the fat beneath your skin, the muscle, the fat within your tummy, and the muscle within the organs. That people have had indices for. First, it was thought all size fits one thing. Europeans, as usual, all size fits one. Then Koreans were the first to say, no, we have a different sarcopenic cutoff than you all guys. We are a genetically different population. We have a different geographical climate. So Koreans were the first movers after the Europeans. Then multitude of countries have done it. At the Southeast Asia specific cutoffs and a software which can help identify them. If successful, that each basal scan we will be able to devise sarcopenia for all patients at baseline itself. They will not need any extra expenditure, no extra investigation, nothing, nada.
But only if that is possible.
Right, it's a very tedious process. The thing is, imagine manually doing it. It's not possible. I have been doing it for some time, so I can tell you with confidence, it's not very easy right now doing it manually.
Right. I can understand.
Develop.
I can understand, doctor. I can understand. Yeah. Anyway, that is such an insightful thing because it's such a new concept, sarcopenia, and I wanted to talk to you more on that. Again, going on to your, more of the works that you have done, lung cancer, another part, and lung cancer these days are just, head, neck, lung is all connected so many times. There's such a rising trend. There is no way of understanding why it is only rising.
I'll tell you, the thing is now, most of it is habit related. The data is very alarming. See, the use of smoking, the amount of people smoking have decreased. There is no doubt about that. The first study which was done initially, the smoking, I don't know if you know the fact, in 1950s, doctors used to prescribe cigarettes to pregnant women to decrease nausea during the first 3 months of their pregnancy because there was no data regarding smoking and pregnancy. No data. Smoking, pregnancy, cancer, no data. 1950s, 70 years ago, after our independence, not so far back. Just imagine.
Exactly.
Then data started emerging that it is harmful for both pregnant women and causes cancer.
Hmm.
So that lead to a decrease in smoking. Right now in the US, India, the entire data compilation is not very perfect. US, everything tends to get compiled. So has been a tremendous decrease in smoking. I shouldn't say this in a public forum. ITC, Indian Tobacco Company,
Yeah.
I do not have their share. I should sit in their board. But just imagine, they have been branching out. Other than selling cigarettes, they're selling FMCG products, soaps, shampoos, Sunfeast. Why? Because they know smoking will decline. People are aware and smoking is declining. But the population is shifting. Men used to be 90% of smokers till 40 years back. Now in the Western world, women smokers are outnumbered men. Because I do not know the reason. I will not go into a gender war, but that is what is the established fact.
Correct.
Head and neck cancer in India, tambaku chabane wala means people in North India predominantly have a habit of keeping the betel leaf within their fold and keeping it sleeping overnight. That is so harmful.
Very
And,
harmful.
and you cannot make them stop that. For smokers, you have a nicotine patch. For those betel leaf chewers, you do not have a patch. And they will not stop. Even after having cancer, they will not stop. What we can do is create a ulcer. मुंह में छाला हुआ, जहां से तंबाकू खाते हो, भी हुआ, एक दिन भी हुआ, जाके दिखाओ किसी को. That is the awareness we need to create. The cigarette packs have cancer patients, lung cancer, laryngeal cancer, but those tobacco packets, they have their warning signs, but we need to educate people. थोड़ा सा भी छाला होने पे आपको दिखाना है क्योंकि आप तंबाकू खाते हो. देरी तक नहीं रुकना है आपको. And trust me, that prevention, that awareness is our biggest weapon. That is the most important armament anyone has against cancer. If you can prevent it at its root cause, that is best. You can set up 200 institutes across the country, but nothing will compare to a robust prevention and awareness program.
Right. So that counseling of awareness, the right kind of awareness is really necessary.
Absolutely.
The right kind of counseling. Yes. Yes, doctor. Also, coming to the expenses of all these treatments, like how do we get it to the ones who really need it? Like the ones, when it comes to cancer treatment, almost every diagnostic expense is just too much, way beyond how a normal person would want to just go and get a test done just to see if they have cancer or not.
The reason for that is, first, no one thinks of a cancer. Everyone will think of tuberculosis. Everyone think of everything except cancer.
Sorry to cut you, doctor. Also, something where while doing my research here, I came upon this thing that said, even a very normal symptom, say being constipation, people have gone to doctors for that and landed up having cancer.
Exactly.
So how exactly you can proceed? Yeah, I just wanted to add that. Sorry.
No. What we need is we need to create awareness. People in our country have a very high tolerance range for pain. Very high tolerance range for pain. And I'll tell you the sad part. The sad part of is that because they don't have money. They think अगर मैं डॉक्टर के पास जाऊंगा तो 10,000 का खर्चा करवाएगा, कुछ तो निकलता नहीं है.
Okay. That is the attitude.
That is the sad part. Because we are a developing nation. We cannot run away from it. Most of our patients, most of our poor patients need to be taken care of in a government-sponsored institution care. And the institution needs to be of that level. But people don't reach them. They will go to a BAMS, BHMS, who might or might not know about it. He might just give them a laxative for constipation and send them back. The first thing is, even a general surgeon will always put in his finger, wear a glove and see, can he palpate anything for constipation? Right. But the patient has to reach the right person. They cannot say, or I don't know if you felt that, सर दर्द होने पे आप कितने बार डॉक्टर के पास गए?
Yeah, exactly.
आप उसके पास जाके कैलकुल लेके 4 दिन वेट करते हो ना?
Yeah.
This is an Indian habit.
And even finding the right doctor. Like, exactly. There are so many people talk about cancer being a business and cancer, so many fraudsters in the middle of it, trying to just play on the desperation of the patient.
That is, like I said, in the very starting, you have to be very clear what you're dealing with. Either you're aiming for a curative intent or a palliative intent. Imagine someone with breast cancer. They feel a lump. The poor lady goes to a doctor. The doctor is not a surgeon who doesn't understand anything about the basics of breast cancer. What he will do, he will refer it to some other person who knows how to remove a breast but has no knowledge about the biologics of breast cancer. He will do the surgery and they will send the patient to Tata Memorial Hospital, Homi Bhabha Cancer Hospital, any other tertiary government sponsored center. And there we do a scan, we try and stitch, and we see the cancer spread to the bones, to the liver, and there was no need of the surgery because ultimately surgery, but the patient has already lost about 1.5 to 2 lakh rupees. To no avail.
Exactly.
To no avail. So exactly, and they said हमको बोला कि हम निकालना तो पड़ेगा ही, आप निकलवा लो बाद में देखते हैं. And that is so sad.
It is very
sad. And the interval gap, I'm telling you, patient will come to a person. I will not blame anyone. I will not disrepute anyone. Everyone plays their part. But there are people who do this. People will go to someone who doesn't know anything. Next day, the surgery will be scheduled because otherwise the patient will have time to consult someone. Next day, 24 hours, the surgery will be done. The patient will be kept for peri-operative care for 4 weeks. 4 हफ्ते तक उनको कहीं नहीं भेजते. After 4 weeks, they will say, now you go to this institution, they will see the radiation and chemo. And no one knows if it was an aggressive cancer. In the 4 weeks, it might have spread from the breast to the liver.
Right. In 4 weeks, correct.
What was the point of doing the surgery without getting the patient scanned and staged? You're basically harming the patient more than you're curing the patient.
So that you're making more out of the patient, right?
Yes, I think general surgeon knows what to do. Just they have to be primed that if you feel a mass, stage it. Be clear in your treatment intent. If it has spread, do not operate. It takes 5 years to learn when to operate, 15 years to learn when not to operate. It is easy putting a knife, a needle. Difficult is stopping yourself saying, no, this is something which need not be touched. Let's work it up further. That is very important. And people are very shy because they think, the patient will go to another doctor. ठीक है जाने दो. If everyone develops that thinking, nahi, I will do it by the book. Everything will get straight. A welcome change is the increase in the medical insurance cover of the general population, either via the PM Yojana, the various state schemes, or if people can afford it personally. That is so important.
Right.
If you are paying insurance, at least you have a basic backup. I'll tell you something which happened way back 6 years when I was an intern. Just cleared my MBBS working in a government hospital in West Bengal. I will not name it. I was posted over there. A lady came to us. She was having unconsciousness. We got a routine CBC done, a complete blood count. They showed atypical cells. We worked it up further. Came out as leukemia. Okay. I was the lowest part of the food chain, the intern. So in the evening, the father comes up to me and says, "Sahab, ठीक हो जाएगा ना?" In Bengali, in the native language. I said, "नहीं, उनको कैंसर नहीं ठीक होगा." He sat there. He told me, "साहब 6 महीना पहले शादी हुआ था, ससुराल वालों ने वापस भेज दिया बोल के कि लड़की में खराबी थी, तुमने जानबूझ के शादी करवा दी, ठीक होती है तो वापस भेज देना वरना भेजना मत." Right. आपको पता है कम से कम 1.5-2 लाख रुपया लगेगा. अब देखो कैसे कराओगे, मतलब सोच के करवाना. ही साहब हम तो घर और जमीन बेच देंगे. देखो आपके और बच्चे हैं क्या? बोले हाँ 2 और बच्चे हैं. मतलब आप सोच के करना. आप जमीन बेचोगे, आप कर्ज लोगे, लेकिन वो ठीक नहीं हो पाएंगे उस पैसे में. आप सोच के करना. And my posting changed. I never got to follow up. Correct. 6 months later, I was posted in Baruipur. It's a rural area. We have a rural postings. And that guy comes up to me. I don't even recognize him. I'll be very honest. He says, "साहब पहचाने क्या?" मैं बोला नहीं, क्या हो गया? बोले हमारी बेटी. मैं बोला हाँ क्या हुआ? बोले कुछ नहीं हो साहब, वो तो मर गए, हमारा घर बिक गया, जमीन बिक गई, हम ट्रेन में भीख मांग रहे हैं. Can you just imagine what is the ordeal of that father who tried to cure his daughter after marriage, and the husband threw her out कि आपने हमें उसको बीमारी पता था. They knew nothing. We have to rid ourselves of these social. Have to. You need mental support. You need emotional support. You need psychological support. In the US, cancer treatment for liver cancer is primarily liver transplantation. They have a UNOS group, United Nations Organ Support Group. Familial support. Alcoholism is a very big pandemic over there. They have Alcoholic Anonymous. The first thing to get listed upon the transplant list is having a familial support, because they know without familial support, people will relapse into drinking. Exactly. They will not list you on a transplant list if you do not have your family supporting you emotionally and psychologically. And that is so important. And we say we are a close-knit society. Lift up minimal fabric and you will see how fragmented we are.
I could not agree more. Right, right. Anyhow, coming back to it, I wanted to ask you more about the COVID because you had written an article on the COVID and cancer patients. Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
So what happens is COVID is something that struck out of the blue.
Right.
Unplanned, unmitigated natural disaster is what it is best classified as.
Tell me about it.
It is underlying affected everyone. But we cannot stop treatment. We cannot stop treatment. You need to triage your patients. If a patient has a high tumor load, has a high burden, you need to offer him treatment with the chance even if he is COVID positive. Because I'll be very honest, when I am not the primary treatment giver, I'm the person who tells you that the tumor load is high and you should go ahead with it with your clinical judgment if you think it is best. But what I have seen people who are primarily dealing with it, that they have taken a call to treat it.
Correct.
We have had patients, we have had brilliant surgeons at my alma mater who have treated COVID positive patients. They have taken masks and face shields and 4 layers, a PPE kit, then a surgical gown. If you ever wear a PPE kit, you will understand it is not made of fabric which breathes. You will sweat and the sweat will cling to you, and you will keep on sweating and you will keep on sweating and you will keep on sweating. Those people have done surgeries for 6-8 hours in such attires and PPE kits just for the benefits of the patient. Because we do not want to send someone back home. You do not know what lockdown, what they have faced to reach there or any place. So no one wants to send a patient back. Honestly, if you have ethics, you will not send a patient back. That is what I feel. Because you cannot say, you cannot just say it. You will take the maximum precaution you can. You will wear an N95, you will wear a face shield, you will wear a PPE kit, but you will see your patient. And that is it. There is no other way. The only thing which excuses you is if you have your comorbidities. If you're a known asthmatic yourself, if you yourself are immunocompromised, then yes, you cannot just say I will go to a field to war and take a bullet without a bulletproof vest, right? That is
right.
So accept people who have comorbidities and who have genuine reasons. No one should deny treatment to any patient, leave alone cancer with COVID, because that is a double trouble in itself.
Right. And in your article, was what is the main thing, sir, that we can take by?
Basically, we were reviewing it was written till May, got published in June. So till May, has happened in COVID. What are the new modalities? Like remdesivir was approved by the FDA just 2 weeks back. Tocilizumab had first entered Dhaka. India, tocilizumab did not first get via the government route. It was people living in West Bengal who got it smuggled illegally from their relatives in Dhaka, where it was already approved for treatment.
Correct.
And then it came into the government center. That is a very funny fact that most of the people do not know. Yeah. Tocilizumab had just entered India illegally in West Bengal. It was written in such tumultuous times to know what has happened. If you just want to know a one-stop read कि आज के date तक COVID का क्या situation है, it should give you an update regarding vaccines, the treatment protocols which are ever changing. I did mention protocols, but along with that, we gave links to the FDA, the Johns Hopkins Institute, which keep on revising that this is an ever-evolving field, and more so in cases of COVID. So it was a snapshot review of everything that had happened till the day I had written it, along with my co-authors.
Right. Anyway, I mean, keeping both in such a pandemic situation, keeping something like cancer and the COVID together, I can completely imagine how it must have affected someone who has cancer, the COVID already.
Triage. Many cancer patients undergo follow-up for 5 years, 10 years. You can call them up. You can ask them, are you tumor marker and scan done at your native place, and send me the report. Teleconsult. Send it. Do not put yourself the hazard of traveling so far. Do teleconsultation with us. We will see the reports and we will guide you what to do. And maybe you can meet us after 6 months or a year when this passes off.
Exactly.
Save all of traveling. And at the same time, we know that it's in check. There's a scan done. There's a blood test done. Nothing big is seen. So yeah, we can keep them from traveling and safe in this situation. And active patients, we call them. Anyone with a bad symptom, uncertain diagnosis, we call them. We ask them to come because we do not want to take chances.
Yes, that is the main thing. That is the main thing. You do not want to take chances. So yeah. Also, sir, what exactly towards the end we are reaching? So, what exactly is your take on a good lifestyle for a cancer patient and their caregivers? You know, because the caregivers are also affected by this. So, what do you have to say to the caregivers? What do you have to talk to them about? Most importantly, how they can support their loved ones, how they can, especially for someone who's going through what they're going through,
Yes.
right?
It's a burden both for the patient and the caregiver. No one suffers more than the caregiver, except the patient. It is the caregiver who suffers the most, and more than the
Right.
lifestyle. Again, I would like to stress, it is more about the emotional and psychological support. You cannot make a patient, even palliative, say, "अरे आपका तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता."
Right, right, right.
No one wants to be spoken to like that.
Yeah.
No one. Let alone a patient who knows he has cancer and afraid, anxious. Sorry, the light went off. I think the inverter will start in 10 minutes.
Sorry, it's okay, it's okay. No problem, no problem.
I think you can still hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I like
I
to
can hear
continue.
you.
So we always try forming groups.
Right.
Part of a group. Do not feel shy sharing your problems. Everyone have difficult shoes to fill in. आपको लगता है कि मेरे को तकलीफ है, वो सामने वाला अच्छा होगा, उसको लगेगा कि मैं बोल लूंगा, अरे क्या फालतू में बोलने, नहीं होता है. Go to a support group, talk to your family. People who speak like that, cut them off from your life. Keep only positive people. I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
Cut them off from your life. Keep your social distance from them also who psychologically affect your health in a worse state.
Yes. I mean, there are social stigmas also attached to it. So, your hello?
The biggest stigma in cancer. Hello.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you were saying you got caught off in between.
Yeah, one of the biggest social stigmas I will tell you, means most people will not even have realized it. I had a patient who used to come for mammography, male patient. He
Yeah.
had male breast cancer.
Yes.
And he used to come exactly on the same date, 26th February, every year. And he used to be the first patient in queue every
Yeah.
year. And I asked him, चाचा आप इतना सुबह क्यों आते हो, आप तो दूर रहते हो? And he said, बेटा मेरे लड़का या बहू को पता नहीं है कि मेरे को ब्रेस्ट कैंसर हुआ है. बोला पड़ोसी सोचेंगे कि मर्द को स्तन का कैंसर हो गया तो हमको सोसाइटी से निकाल देंगे.
Exactly.
उनका कैंसर ट्रीट हो गया, he got operated, the family doesn't know, his wife knows, the son doesn't know. So he comes early in the morning saying I'm going to the park or for some work. He comes, gets his mammography done. He asks me, sir आप जल्दी report कर दो. He's the first one to queue up in the OPD, see, and returns home by afternoon, and no one knows कि पापा को breast cancer हुआ. Male breast cancer का stigma in a society like India, unimaginable.
Right.
Just imagine, without the support of the wife, had the wife had similar thoughts like the relatives and the neighbors, patient के माथे में कितना psychological burden होता.
Yes. Yes. Also, I have come about through my readings. I came to know. Hello. Yeah. Okay. I came to know about a tribal lady who went about. I mean, who had breast cancer and who got the operation done, and the breast was removed. But she had to go every day to the fields to work every day because she has no other choice but to work, right? So because of the social stigma, and she has to get out of the house, right? She doesn't want to show everybody that she has had breast cancer, and it's everything is uneven, right? So she has kept like a cup there in such a way that it's harming her body.
The physical form,
and it is pressing itself inside her skin and into, but she is not bothered about it. She bothers more about the society, what they will think. It is infecting her because of the cup constantly being there and rubbing against her skin. It is infecting her and causing her other injuries and infections.
But she has to bear it because of the society.
Yes.
Because that is more traumatic to her than the pain and the infection and the suffering.
Yes, and the infection was getting worse, in fact, because the infection was happening over the place where they made the cut.
I don't know if you're familiar. लोग बोलते हैं ना, समाज क्या कहेगा शादी में and divorce में. Cancer should be equated with that only. कि समाज क्या कहेगा is such a big thing in cancer. People just underestimate it.
People do. So anyway, coming to my final question. is it the most wisest thing to do to just go and get a diagnostic test done, like say an FNAC test done, just to make sure that you have cancer because your family has it, or it's in your genes, or you feel you have it, or you have some kind of, I don't know, it's a symptom that you think, oh, this could be cancer, right?
So yes, so
Because
I
these tests are too expensive, right? So is it
yes,
wise to go and do such a thing for anybody like that? Just walk in and
if
get a
you have
test.
family history or a relative or a first blood relative, I will say get yourself first a good medical insurance.
Yes.
So that even if you have to get tested again, it is something you can afford.
Yeah, correct.
Instead of preventing the test, get a good medical insurance. I know the premium will be high, but trust me, it will go along with solving your medical and financial needs.
Right.
Because at the beginning of every test, you won't think, "Arey, kitna paisa lagega?"
Mhm.
And that is a very, very important thing people have to realize is getting a medical insurance is critical and paramount.
Hmm.
If you, my maternal grandmother died of breast cancer.
Correct.
My mother is a high risk patient. She has an annual mammogram done. She gets it palpated every year by a surgeon. My wife is a surgeon now. My wife does it first since this year. So we get it palpated by a surgeon and we get it done. We have, we, so, and now coming back, the most important thing in our society, ovarian and breast cancer. Ovarian cancers, the thing is they grow very slowly. They will not cause any symptoms except vague, dull abdominal pain. Nothing except vague pain. You take a paracetamol, it will go away. And that will niggle on for months. So do not ignore anything which keeps you paining for more than a week or a month. Because that means something is constantly going on inside. 95% of the times it won't be cancer. I will agree. But those 5% of the times the life will be saved. Never ignore a symptom that is chronic. Acute things everyone takes care of, but chronic things which tends to get ignored. Breast lumps small है, छोटी सी गठान है स्तन में, अरे बाद में देखेंगे. अरे थोड़ा सा पेट दुखता है, बाद में देखेंगे.
Haven't we
छोटा
all
सा
been there? Yeah.
छोटा सा छाला है मुंह में, बाद में देखेंगे.
Yeah.
We have to change that. Get it. You know you are high risk. Get a mediclaim done. Get yourself covered. Government mediclaim, private, anything, whatever suits you. But get yourself tested at least once. अगर
Absolutely.
आपको long time symptom है, get yourself tested. Never put off till tomorrow. What you can do today is actually valid for cancer also.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely understand. I completely understand. Wow, this is such an insightful experience with you, doctor. Such an insightful discussion, and it was more like a conversation. Put us both in, I mean, a
Yeah,
good.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, it has been such a pleasure having you on this. Trust me, it has been such a pleasure and an honor. And I have been, inside. I have learned so much from this. Like I'm taking away so much. So I can imagine how many people who will be listening to this conversation with you, are going to benefit from this because they are all in that situation, right?
Yes. I just want people to know that cancer, you just need to have a positive approach. Never ignore a symptom. Get tested. Show to a correct person who understands your concern and not just brushes off कि कराना ही पड़ेगा.
Right.
And if you are treated, after you get treated, always follow up. Never give up your surveillance because we do not want you to fall sick again. We have the best interests of yours in heart. Come to people, anyone. I'm right here now in Varanasi. I have patients coming to with oral ulcers. Come someone who understands कि ठीक है, I agree 95% वो कैंसर नहीं निकलेगा, but दिखवा लो एक बार कि बाद में नहीं होना चाहिए 6 महीना बाद it becomes uncurable and then you say अरे सर पहले ही देख लेते तो, because that is the worst thing you can keep on your conscience and do.
Right. Right. Wow. This has been such a guiding conversation with you, sir. Seriously. Thank you so much for being with us today, taking the time out on such a busy schedule. Really, I can completely understand your dedication towards the cause you're working for. Thank you so much.